It would have been nice if I had thought of this before I took absolutely all the pieces out of the TV, but I've seen people make old TVs that have a bad screen into a light box because it has the LED strips and that puts out a lot of light. So I'm going to try that just because that way I throw away less and maybe I'll get more light in my garage. So we'll see how that goes. And as you can see in this spot here, that is why the LCD broke. I accidentally crunched one of the little chips that's on the ribbon cable. So first I have to fix the paper thing because again, I was planning on throwing this out, so it had torn when I tossed it in the recycle bin. And then I get to put it all back together. Luckily I know how to do this now. I didn't have their fancy tape. I don't think it matters. I'm just going to use this tape. Hopefully those little tabs will hold it. Took a bit, get the bezel on, get the back on, get it all sorted. Try it. Well, it lit up. That at least shows that the LEDs work. It does look, depending on how you look at it, sometimes there's a little flicker, which would be annoying as a light source. Like if you stare off to the side, it kind of flickers. And interestingly enough, I don't know if it's coming off on the video, but there's a dark band that comes up across. I wonder if that's the refresh rate. On the video, it looks like there's a dark band that comes up across. So like here, going up across. There, going up across. So, I don't know if I'm going to... I don't know where I'll put it, or if I'll use it, or if I'll do anything useful. Let's try turning all the lights off, see what that looks like. One last light. It actually doesn't do too bad for lighting stuff up. I mean, it's obviously not as good as my super bright shop lights, but it actually puts out quite a bit of light. I mean, all the lights are off in the garage, and as the initial project went, the LED strips worked great. And I broke, as you saw, one of the little chips on the ribbons, and now I know to be very careful if I ever take one apart again. There are the attachment points on the back of the TV for putting the vase mount. So I could put boards across or attach a board to there and then screw that board into the ceiling, and then I wouldn't need the stand. It does work as a light box. That's how to take a TV that the screen is broken on and make it into a light box. You just take that off. Now, one thing I saw online, because this is just a piece of soft plastic and you can see already that there's dirt accumulating on it, probably from static. They recommended, if you're trying, especially if you're going to put paper on here to like do drawing over, to have light behind to do tracing and stuff, they recommended getting a piece of harder plexiglass or glass to stick in here so you don't scratch up the plastic. But yeah, it's a garage thing. I don't know that I'm going to need that for anything. So now I have to figure out what size bolts those are. Those end up being M6 metric bolts, and I managed to find some in my bolts drawer, so that's good. And then I figured, all right, well, I'll make pieces of plywood to go across, and then I can bolt it to the TV with some washers, and then I can use those extra pieces to screw it up through into pieces of, well, those wall hanger things that you put in the wall when you don't have a board that basically hold in drywall. So here I'm first holding it up and almost dropping it a few times of trying to get it measured and drawn up there. Then I use my spare piece of wood, draw where it's supposed to go, and then you can't see it, but there you go. I'm putting the screws in to hold up there and make approximate holes of where to put the anchors in. Then I put the anchors in, broke a plastic one, went back to the metal one since those are the ones that work. Got it in first and it didn't line up. So then I had to take it back out, shifted it, and then it lined up. And then adjust my plugs and hey, it lights up. So I decided to put it over by the drill presses instead of over by the lathe area, because the lathe area already has two bright lights, and this section by the drill presses does have these other two lights. But just at the drill press itself, I a lot of times have to plug in my other light. And this would hopefully let me do that without that, because sometimes the lights right next to the drill press is too bright and overshadows whatever I'm trying to do, for at least on the camera. So let's see if we turn. So that's just with this light by itself in this section. I mean, I do have the other lights over there, but that's just the only one here, and that's actually just about usable. If I turn the other light on right above here, that's better, especially for this drill press. But that one is still lit up decently well. If I turn the other one on, now yeah, it's brighter over here under the actual shop lights, but for all the more I do drilling over here, that might actually help. And it was free. Well, I would say it was free, but I had to pay for the replacement LED strips. But yeah, I think that might work. We'll see. We'll see if it falls on my head. I don't think it will. It seems all right. Like I said, it does still flicker some. So that may end up being annoying, but it's a decent amount of light for what ended up being like $10. So for a $10 light, it puts a decent amount of light out effectively. And it's a wide area, and it's not a super harsh light, so hopefully that won't give lots of reflections. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that's at least better than throwing it away.